Hey guys, well, it's been a while since I've done a long form video, but we are doing this artwork of Kronii. I've been drawing her a lot lately. If you've seen the shorts, you've seen the artwork, but this particular artwork was one of the ones where I used a lot of more blending modes. I'm starting to experiment with overlay, and still doing my traditional add glow stuff that I've been doing for a long time, but for the most part, I'm kind of switching it up just a little bit with some overlay, and trying to get everything to kind of blend in terms of colors. I'm really pushing it to try to feel how blended I can actually make it look without pushing too far. In terms of the sketch here, we are dealing with something that did get me bonked on Twitter. Twitter's been very butthurt lately that I've been, when I say butthurt, Twitter, I don't mean the users. The users and the people who follow me have all been pretty cool. They're dealing with me going through a transitional period where everything I'm making is a bit more risque, but I'm having to pull back because Twitter's grok is kind of in control of the algorithm, and it is an absolute nightmare. But I'm doing the best I can, and I hope in the end, whatever comes out from this experiment and figuring out where the line is, that you guys will be here with me while I do it. With that out of the way, this is kind of just a cold open. I don't really have a plan. But for the most part, all I wanted to say was I went for kind of a fun shot here, just a simple, almost profile, barely showing the body. I did do the hand because I felt like if I did no hands, it would be kind of boring, because hands are super expressive and they're very, very good at conveying kind of the emotion that you want, because just like the face and the eyebrows, the hand is one of the most expressive parts of the human body. And that's basically why I drew the hand this time, because I wanted kind of like that gentle, like finger near the mouth type look. But that was the goal. This is a sketch, and now we're going to start putting in the base colors and getting some rendering done. That's my whole spiel out of the way, so let's get started. Okay, so we have the basic idea here, and we're going to start adding features to the face. Now, the face is pretty much the only place left that I draw guidelines. And the reason for that is placing the eyes is kind of one of those things that's a little bit tricky. And the good thing to remember is the eyes begin right where the flat part of the head begins. And your eyes are an eye length apart. So you basically got the measurements down almost to a science whenever you're trying to place it. So remember, flat part of the head, eye length apart. And that'll typically just do whatever it is you need to do. And doing that will get things done. That was a weird way to word it, but I did my best. Doing my best with my crappy autism. But here we go. We draw the flat part of the head here, the guide to kind of strike the face down the middle, and just kind of place everything. And we're going to start doing the eyes now. Now, I had someone ask me how I in particular do eyes, and I'll do my best to explain it real quick, just to kind of give you an idea on how I do it. Now, we're going to draw kind of a curve, kind of that almond shape you see everyone do. You'll notice the corner of the eye points down to where the mouth will be. And that's a good way to kind of gauge where to put the eyes. You want the corner to point down diagonally to the mouth. And you want the eye to begin right where that flat part of the head begins. Get the eyes an eye length apart from each other. Do the same thing diagonal with the corners, almond-shaped eyes, and we're just going to kind of draw everything to where it's proportionally where it needs to be. Now, the mouth goes in between the middle of where the nose and the chin are, in that little middle part, and that's basically how you place the mouth, and that'll give you a pretty solid face. Getting the face shape right in anime was very tricky. It took me years just to get to the point where my faces actually look proper. So if you can't do it on your first try, you're not insane. It takes forever, and I used the liquify tool to kind of help me along a little bit. So in a way, I kind of cheat a little bit, if I'm gonna be real. I like to mold my artwork like clay with the liquify tool. In terms of the hair, we are following the contours of the head, meaning it needs to wrap around and fall where gravity falls, and where it kind of follows the curvature of the head shape. And doing that will make it look properly placed. Now, getting that proper placement, like I said, not easy. The face and the hair, it's one of the hardest things to learn in anime. And some people say it's the hands, but hands are kind of universal, whereas the anime face shape and hair shape is very unique to anime. and it's one of those things that whenever you practice it, it just feels like you're constantly not getting it right. And it took me, like I said, almost a full 5 years before I got it down the way I do now. And even then, I still make mistakes. It's not easy to get it down the way it's supposed to look. So I'll go into a more in-depth detail in a different video. I actually have a video just on the eyes in the works right now. I've had it in the works for a while, but every time I almost finish, I get better. So I have to redo everything, and it's driving me absolutely nuts. But I am trying to get the video out, but every time, like I said, I just keep improving, so the video is dated and it doesn't make any sense anymore because I do better than I did whenever I was first working on it. Drives me nuts! I like getting better. I don't like making videos about me getting better because, one, it looks conceited, two, I have to redo everything. It's a nightmare. But we have the basic colors here, and we're going to start working on the shading. Now, I have a lot to say with the shading for this particular artwork because I use a ton of different blending modes and tried out quite a few different techniques. I saw a video using the overlay blend mode, and typically I use add glow because that's kind of my bread and butter. But I wanted to try to add the overlay mode, and you'll see I put a multiply layer on top of everything. I've been doing this a little bit weird lately, where I've been doing light carving on top of the multiply layer, and I actually don't recommend you do that. Me doing it like this makes zero sense. There's no real logic behind why I'm doing it. It's just something I've been doing lately. It's kind of like basically putting everything on one layer and trying to do it that way. It's absolutely stupid. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't do it this way. Seriously, it's a bad idea. I don't know why I'm doing it and why I've been doing it lately. I don't know if it's to like save time or what, but it's just, it's stupid. Don't do what I'm doing. It doesn't make sense if you're a beginner, and it's something I would not recommend very many people do unless you know what you're doing. So here we're just adding the regular skin tone on top, and then we're doing kind of the shading inside the multiply layer. Like I said, it's directly on top. I don't know why I'm doing this. We are adding kind of the little details in the armpit, which is something some people like. It's one of those things, I never really got it, but it tends to do numbers, so, you know, we'll just say, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because it works. But we're kind of adding the light. You can see the light is coming from the side of her, like to our right. And basically that whole thing is just kind of getting everything going. You'll notice I add a little bit of reflections from the bottom because light bounces. We are bouncing the light from the ground back on top of her. And that is typically what we want to do whenever we are thinking of anything lighting. We want light underneath where it bounces, and the light bounces, hits a color, and brings that color back up. Now we're doing the color on top. This is a much harsher light, so we're not making it kind of skin colored like the others. We're making it more of the color that the material is. And you'll notice that I add a lot of blending to the material because it's a thicker piece of material, so you kind of want more blend with thicker materials, whereas you want more cel-shaded look with like thinners. So we have the basic idea here. We're getting everything together, kind of adding little bitty details to the skin where it's like right where the lines intersect. We want to make it darker, and that just kind of makes everything come together. Here pretty soon we're going to start adding the overlay layer to kind of bring all the colors and glue them all together. Now, here I'm adding the details to the hair. I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do with the hair. Do I want the light to be behind her? But clearly I don't, because look where the direction's coming from. It doesn't quite make full sense what I was doing here, but it did look good, so rule of cool. Now we're adding the shadows to the hair, and we're just kind of making it as almost as like metallic as possible, because I like shiny hair. That's kind of one of my favorite things. We're adding a bit of the skin tone to the hair to make it look like the color's reflecting back in the hair, making it look even shinier by comparison. And here pretty soon we'll start working on the eyes. Now the eyes are simpler than I should be doing them. They're just kind of a simple cel shaded and a little bit of lights added, then an add glow layer on top to make it shine and push through everything. So now we're going to start adding the post-processing. Here's where I add the overlay layer, some add glow to kind of make it shine more. We are copying the entire project, pasting it on top, setting it to hard light, and then reducing the opacity. We're then doing tonal curve and color balance to glue all the colors together. And finally, we are kind of adding some blurring effects. And the way we're going to do that is with a few things that a few auto actions I got off of Clip Studio, which tend to work really, really well. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of add the bell that I had forgotten, so I had to redo it and add the bell. Now, bells are technically cel shaded because they're very shiny. So we have everything here. Now we're going to use the auto actions that I have, kind of add little details like the hearts, just kind of make it all feel complete. Some motion blur on the tail to kind of get some interest going. And honestly, that's pretty much how I did this artwork. It looks more confusing than it is. Here's where I add the blur and then some unsharpen on the focal points, and finally some chromatic abrasion. And that is how I made this artwork. If you enjoyed this video, thank you for watching. Sorry it was a bit rambly,